Welcome.
Button on the side.
Thank you. I click. Yeah, click that.
Yeah, and then the old button. And your mic stand.
Okay. It just go off. It's typing.
I heard it for a second.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear it.
Yeah, there you go. So you have it. There you go. Now you're good.
Hello, great, okay. So, first off, thank you very much for everyone in this room joining us live. And for those that are on the live stream, thank you very much for taking the time to participate and listen in on the views of the 2023 Board of Education candidates. My name is Christina Keene. I am the PTA president. I'm honored to be here today with my fellow PTA president colleagues, Gina Santinas, representing School, and Rosa of FFG, Heather Krieger, Kara, and unfortunately Lauren Euro, who is representing Sam Meyer, could not be here doing this. But we are all here today supporting this initiative to give a platform to the candidates that are running for Springfield District Township School BOE. So to that point, I'd like to thank you all for being here today. We realize that your time is very precious. We realize that you've made great contributions to our district and to our communities broadly. We realize that we're all very busy in our own rights. We're busy parents, we're busy employees. So thank you very much for carving out 1 hour of your time to be here. I want to say that one of our candidates is actually not able to join us today, so unfortunately we're not going to be here. But to all of you, thank you very much for being here. This is the first time I think Springfield District has been able to do this in quite a good amount of years. The last one I think was circa 2016, 2017. So we're really happy that we're able to organize this initiative, this effort to showcase the views of these candidates. And so thank you for your candor and for your insights, and we look forward to hearing your feedback and to hear more about your views on where we could be going as a district. So what we're going to do for this evening is we're going to give you the stage effectively to speak about who you are with your introductions. You'll have approximately 2 minutes to do that. We have a gentleman to my right here, Mr. Mike Scalera, who is representative of State Farm Insurance. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us today. Mike, he's going to serve as our timekeeper today. And you'll have a countdown clock in front of you. The questions that are being raised will be given approximately 2 minutes to answer. So Mr. Mike Scalera will have that keeper of time clock in front of you. And when the alarm goes off, unfortunately, we're going to have to button you up. If we have time in the session, we'll give you all the privilege of providing closing commentary, and I think that we should be able to do that. And this is not an open Q&A session. For those of you in the back of the room, we will not be able to approach the podium. We are limited to the questions collected via the from the generic email distributed via different channels of distribution this week. And I want to thank the community for submitting those questions. We received a lot of questions, and we did our best job to funnel them and filter them to a place where there was a commonality, theme, and subject matter to be tackled. So if your question specifically is not raised, please do not think that we generalize it again according to consensus received for the themes and the topic areas that the community generally support. So to that point, I'd like to start in alphabetical order with allowing the candidates to introduce themselves. So Ms. Garamikian, thank you. I'm sorry to put you front forward, but you are on to give your opening remarks and to give your introduction.
My maiden name was Pavona, so I was at the end of the alphabet, and I think I just felt my first time where I was not excited to be. Good evening. Thank you all for being here, and for example, for tuning in, and taking an active role as a member of this community. I think really important to have this opportunity. This is my first time as a board member being able to participate tonight. Because my first year running was 2017. So I have been a member of the board for, can't believe it's been 6 years, but I have. And back then it wasn't actually as popular or well streamed, or just really no one came to our meetings and no one paid attention to that part of school. And so the change that has come over the past 6 years, I think it's really important, because I feel just as the board has taken an active role in speaking of their kids while they're in school and then beyond for those who still had served after, it's just really important part of our civic service. So I am an 11-year resident of Springfield and a mother for all 4 of my babies are now students of Springfield Public Schools. So I think that's actually very beautiful. And I just don't remember who had also 4 kids that were all in the school district at one time, but I think they're probably equal that time on the camp. So to say that I am connected to this basically an understanding. My daughter just entered our full day pre-K program, and my oldest son is in 7th grade, and I also have 7th graders coming. 3 schools and 1 kid. I am a former elementary school teacher, and I also sat in master's education in student leadership and administration. So essentially, when I decided to join the board, it was my passion for teaching and learning that led me to that, because at that time I didn't learn to it.
It is, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
I need to. All right, well,
My apologies. Thank you very much.
yeah.
So Mr. Mark Miller, and by the way, I forgot to that my housekeeping note that we're gonna use this as indicator of signal when you've got 30 seconds left. Okay, I didn't give you that. Make a question. Okay, so Mr. Mark Miller, please take the floor.
Thank you, Mrs. Kane, Mr. Scalera, the PTSO for organizing this support event. Hello, fellow community members. My name is Mark Miller, and I'm running for re-election to Springfield Board of Education. I've served on this board for 9 years, including as vice president and president. I helped lead the search to find a new superintendent after the board decided a change was needed for the benefit of our students. I've served as chairperson of the policy committee for several years, as well as the sports, buildings and grounds, and school governance committees, and I currently serve as chairperson of the negotiations. I've been very involved in the Springfield community for many years, volunteering since my oldest child, now a sophomore in college, was a junior bulldog. Now my youngest is a freshman here at Dayton, and I continue to look for ways to provide for our community. Of all my volunteering experiences, being on the board of ed has definitely been the most intense. A lot of work and a lot of time, much more than I think most people realize. On top of that, as board members, we face all sorts of criticism, some civil and valid, but unfortunately, we're also sometimes subject to personal attacks. Despite all this, I do it, and I'm willing to continue doing it because I believe in giving back. Some people ask why I'm running again after already serving 3 terms. Fact is, I'm running because I don't want to let the students down. I don't want to let my fellow board members down, and I don't want to let this community down. I also want to continue to support our administration and our district staff. I have tremendous respect for our teachers and staff, and I believe that empowering teachers to do their best will enable our children to be their best. As a board, when we hired Dr. Goldberg, we tasked her with making the changes necessary to improve student performance and increase fiscal efficiency. That's because ultimately our twin responsibilities are to the students of this district and to you, the taxpayers of Springfield. That is why all my motives, decisions, and interactions on the board are seen through the dual lens. Is this best for our students? And is this best for the taxpayers of Springfield? With this perspective, and with my experience, I know I can continue to serve Springfield with faithfulness, compassion, and responsibility. When you fill out your ballots on November 5th, I hope you put aside politics and rhetoric.
Thanks, Mark.
and Vote for an experienced Vote for an experienced board member that has no agenda other than doing what's best for the students of this district and the taxpayers of Springfield. Vote for a person you trust to thoughtfully and intelligently make important choices for your children and for your wallets. Vote for a person who shares your concern for the community, passion for education. Vote for me, Martin. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're gonna switch through. Mike.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. Definitely more than most of our board meeting evenings. So my name is Christy Rubin. For those of you who don't know me, I am running for re-election. I'm finishing up my 6th year. I have 3 children in our Springfield schools. My youngest is a junior. I have a middle daughter who's at FFG, and my youngest is at Sandwire. I also am a teacher. I taught in New York City public school, and I taught at Shari School preschool for a few years. I substituted in various schools, and now I'm working as a special ed teacher, providing services to folks in private schools that I'm an active member of PTA. I do try to help whenever possible. I coach track basketball, I coach lacrosse, and it comes to the question of why am I rerunning for today. 6 years ago I contested, there was 3 open spots. Someone approached me and said, please run, it'll make a difference. So I jumped at the opportunity. Many changes have been made in my tenure on the board. A few years ago, we listened to our community after our decline in rankings, and we decided to pull in a new superintendent. And despite the challenges thrown our way during the past few years, under the leadership of Dr. Goldberg, COVID and Hurricane Ida, transportation costs rising, I I'm gonna skip because I don't want to be cut off too much. At this point, I feel that being part of the Springfield schools is something that I may not have the power to make many decisions in the board member, but I can promise our community that I am definitely the person that will continue to ask questions. I'm confident in the conversations that are being had, that are moving our districts in the right direction. The expectations of students and teachers are changing. But if elected again, I promise that I will continue to be a voice for our community and support our students so that they do want to go on and continue to.
Thank you. And Miss Sullivan.
I did this for the test. Thank you very much for putting together. Good evening, members of the neighborhood. A little bit about me. I have lived in Montreal for almost 20 years, and both my children have attended 2 years since kindergarten. Now I have a 6th grader at FMG in the morning. I have time to flies. I volunteer for the PTA, an active member of CPAG, a parent-led advocacy group for students receiving special services. My husband, Pedro, volunteers for Springfield's auxiliary police. We are invested in the community. I bring relevant professional experience and necessary skills to this job. As a compliance manager for insurance and risk management, I understand the importance of fact-based analysis, pragmatic problem solving, and intelligent compromise. I will contribute positively to working with you. I pride myself on fostering respectful dialogue, clear communication, and engagement. I work effectively and efficiently by being thoroughly prepared and participate in discussion with thoughtful questions designed to elicit pertinent information and further discussion. I value fiscal responsibility and financial transparency. I will work to ensure the school budget reflects the BOE's responsibility to all stakeholders and that district finances are transparent. I will work to improve student outcomes. This means considering relevant data and feedback from our educators and the community, engaging in meaningful collaboration among stakeholders, supporting professional development and innovation in the classroom, and approaching issues with an open mind. In election, community-wide job search. The best candidate for our BOE needs to have a combination of experience, knowledge, and skills, as well as necessary soft skills. I am that candidate. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this point, we'll move into the actual interrogation portion of the session, and I'd like to welcome Gina Santangelo, PTA President of Walton School, to the podium to ask our first question.
This question is for Mark Miller. In your opinion, what are the top needs of the school districts?
Thank you. The top needs of the school district, well, we need a strong leader at the top of our district, and I'm proud to say we have that. We did a thorough search 3 years ago to find that leader, and we found an individual that is educated and intelligent, and those are often two different things. Compassionate, caring, strong, and comes with some great ideas. And that's the reason we chose to renew Dr. Goldberg for a new contract recently. I stand by that choice that we've made, and I know that that is best for our students because I work with her daily, and I know that she finds that to be the most important thing that a district can do is lead for our students. It was also a good financial decision. I've heard and read on social media, etc., that her new salary puts her high on the ranking of New Jersey superintendents. But when you measure K-12 schools, particularly those in Union County and Essex County, we're really getting a bargain to have her sign for 5 years. So a strong leader is extremely important. Also very important for a district is productive and hardworking and happy staff. Thank you. It's important that the teachers and faculty are comfortable and find themselves in a position to teach our students, and we're working toward that end. There's a definite shortage of teachers in the state and nationwide, and this board and Dr. Goldberg have been working very hard to.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time.
So I'd like to welcome to the podium Kara Gordon, who is co-president of Jonathan Ingram School.
Hi, everyone. This question is for Adriana. Can you speak to why you would be a successful board member having not served before?
Okay, so I think I'll be successful because I haven't served before. I do attend a lot of the board meetings that we've had probably for the last, I don't know, 2.5 years. I try to come to all of them in person or check online. I'm very attuned to the current issues that are happening, or like just kind of staying in tune with, things that are happening with the board and the district. I think one of the things that probably, not that I'm saying it's unique, but one of the things that I think I am is a good listener, an active listener. I try to listen to all the different perspectives and try to pull a consensus in. So I mean, I think that's probably one of my best attributes to the board.
Thank you.
And now I'd like to welcome to the podium Jennifer Rosa, PTA President at FMG.
This question is for Christy. Can you comment on the passing of the bond referendum and how it will impact our district?
I don't know how we can look at gaining $32.8 million for infrastructure repairs as anything other than a positive thing for our district. When we hired Dr. Goldberg on, I think she walked into the school and looked around, and you can tell right away that there were so many changes that needs to, that needed to be made. Things weren't maintained. Any person that walked into a gym for a basketball game or anything, you look at the gym and just everything's sorry, bathroom smells. So I think that with the bond referendum passing, we'll have the opportunity to use all of our capital funds, for other things that will benefit our districts in different ways. Maybe things that might be a little prettier, because with HVACs and heating and all that kind of stuff, you might not see it, but it's still improving the state of our buildings that our students are in. I think that any town that you walk in, I mean, this is, rooms like this are wonderful. We were able to put in a new media center at the middle school recently, but changes like that will continue to be made, and taxpayers now can, even though it was only a little increase, it's an increase that we can be proud of, and the timing was just perfect. We were able to roll our one loan right over to, and 33% of that money was actually came from the state. So it was like money that we don't have to pay back, money that our taxpayers do not have to lay out. So win-win for everyone.
I'd like to welcome Heather Krieger, co-president of the high school PTA.
My question is for you, Morgan. Can you speak to some of the recent successes of our district and any hurdles we've recently overcome?
Okay, sorry. Okay, actually in thinking over before tonight, coming up with almost, to have a list of why why should you pick me? Why should, I continue to do this work on your behalf? And we have an actual really long list of amazing things that we've been doing. And I think, to say that we've updated numerous curricula over the past several years and added a lot of new things. We've added STEM classes, we've added Project Lead the Way in 4th and 5th grade. The middle school, something that I can tangibly feel and see is that my 7th grader is getting 50+ minutes more per day of instruction than he would have 3 years ago. He's getting to try new classes. We're getting to, test out electives that you would not have normally seen because you have to be in high school. And now 6th, 7th, and 8th graders are going to do that. This year, we just rolled out a new elementary math program, and they're working and vertically articulating that throughout the district so that we can continue to see increases that we've been seeing. If you had watched the board meeting on September 18th, you saw that our test scores show improvement across the board, especially in the special education population. There are some of the scores that are going back beyond pre-COVID numbers, and that's something to celebrate. Really. In special education, because that was one area that we actually identified for when I became board member, we had added ANC classrooms at the elementary and middle school playing field classroom. We have resource groups that were historically not part of our district model. We have an MTSS with the multi-tiered system support model for academic intervention services. These are things that I'm excited about because I'm a teacher. And so not only am I just telling you these things, I feel excitement and I see the joy on my friends' kids' faces, on my kids' faces.
Thank you.
Okay. And lots of security upgrades too. A lot of good things are happening.
Kara. Yes.
For Mark Miller, what is your stance on policy 5756?
I believe you're referring to the, is that the transgender policy?
Yeah.
So my thanks to this. I'm the chairman of the policy committee. I received an update, as we do several times a year, actually pretty much monthly, we receive updates from Strauss Esme is the law firm that we as a board employ to advise us on state laws and matters of that nature. So when the update came in from the State Department of Education that the recommended policy is as is now written, put forward and approved by the board, I read it, I gave it the consideration that I give every directive that comes from the State Department of Education and is recommended by our superintendent, and I recommended it for approval to the whole board. That's how I feel from a board member point of view. From a board member point of view, if the State Department of Education recommends a policy and our superintendent, our administration recommends this policy, and I don't have a reason not to, I'm gonna go ahead and recommend it to the full board and I'm gonna vote yes. That's my role as a board member. As an individual, as a person, I feel it's important that students are supported. Okay, I understand that not everyone's home is as welcoming a place for their students who are transgender and have other personal questions of that nature. And I feel it's important that we as a district support those students. I don't think we should be in the business of hiding information from parents in general. However, it's very important for the safety of our students that we follow this policy, and that is why I recommended it to.
Thank you. This question is for Adriana. What specific issue or issues do you plan to address and tackle if elected?
Thank you. Something that I had, sorry, this is actually something I had kind of prepared for because I thought you may come up, so I'm gonna just kind of read from my notes. One of the issues that I believe needs to be addressed is special education. These services are important because they ensure that those students have an equal opportunity to access the general curriculum. We need to ensure we have a consistent, so the key word is consistent, solid resource infrastructure in place to meet compliance, full compliance. Another program I think we fall short is the Gifted and Talented program. Feedback from many parents confirms that although their child has been identified, they are not being offered consistent, again, keyword, consistent services. This is also an area where non-compliance is unacceptable. I think they should be provided dedicated ongoing instruction. I know these are two areas that are on the opposite sides of the needs spectrum, but they're equally as important. And since I'm focused on improving student outcomes, I think it's important that we look at both of those areas and look to improve them. Thank you.
Right, Laura, we're good. So the question is, can you tell us what your long-term plan is for the Board of Ed and what are its benefits to our district?
Okay, so, long-term. Well, when I joined the board, my plan was to become an active participant in the decision-making that was going to affect the education of my children. And as it is, that is what I believe that I'm being involved in currently, and looking forward is to basically continue that work. I mean, I'm here because I want to continue the work. I believe that we are on a path from good to great, and we have to see that through. In looking at all of the things that we have grown in, looking at our changes, the school infrastructure changes, the things that the referendum is going to be addressing over the next 5 years, you can see that the plan is for
increasing student achievement, for providing an excellent educational experience, and for preparing our students for college and the future. We have a 95% graduation rate. We have rankings that are stellar on US News for college preparedness. And we were recognized by the state for the quality of our summer program this year that included embedded SEL to students that were identified as at risk. I believe that the plan is to keep moving forward, to keep doing the difficult work and making decisions that aren't always popular ones, but that are to benefit the student, to benefit the quality of the product, which is an adult citizen. So thank you.
Thank you. This question is for Christy Rubin. What direction do you think our district is heading financially and academically?
So. Actually, because I think everyone financially is headed in the similar direction. Food's more expensive. Every day, like, you go to the grocery store and you spend hundreds of dollars and you can come out with a bag of apples. Same thing is happening in our district. But I think I can stand behind the hiring of our new business administrator. I think she is a person that thinks outside of the box and she's trying to move funds around so it's benefiting our children, best that they can be. She's applying for grants that is a new thing in our district. I mean, right? Grants are not really a thing that were that normal here. So I think financially, we're going in as much in a positive direction as we possibly could, and we have somebody that's gonna help us do that. Academically, 16 years ago when I moved into this town, we were one of the top 50 schools. And unfortunately, from then our rankings dropped. So I stand behind the leader that we hired to help us, continue the path towards making sure that our rankings are going up. At this point, we're touched on our scores, but our NJSLA scores, have jumped. Every PLA score is at least 10 to 20% higher than the state average. I think we're making strides in the right direction. Our middle school, there's been a lot of changes there. We have more opportunities with electives for our students. So, I think academically and financially, given the situation that our world is in right now, in time, I think Springfield's going to come out on top and I look proud to that change.
Thank you.
This question is for Adriana. What are your views on how children are taught in the schools? Can you give examples? So I guess the loaded question here is, what's your perception of how our children are being taught at present? And can you back those views up with certain examples?
Okay, can you repeat the question? one more
Sure.
time, please?
What are your views on how children are taught in the schools? Can you give examples?
So from what I've seen, personally, from my experience, I think that we have fantastic teachers here in our district. What I do see is that there, in certain circumstances, there can be a lot more support for the teachers in the classroom. Be it like aid or second teacher, co-teaching, something like that. I feel that the formative years are the most important for all of our children. I mean, up until they're about like 8, 9, 10 years old, that's where you really have the best chance of getting like a really good foundation. And I feel that some of the maybe techniques can be looked at And like for reading, for example, I think just as a whole, reading has really fallen behind, and it's not just in our district, it's really like, could be like across the nation, but maybe look at how those programs that we use for phonics or something. Those are just some things that I think of off the top of my head. I'm gonna be clear, you know, I don't know, I don't have an education background, but I just know that, I care deeply about kids getting a good quality education. Thank you.
Carol has at least some pitching for her. This question is for Laura. Please comment on transparency and communication between the Board of Ed and the residents of Springfield. Do you think there are any issues? Please elaborate.
So I'm gonna go back to a place and say, the board that I joined 6 years ago, or almost 6 years ago, and the board that I sit on today are two very different boards. There was not a lot of communication or transparency at that time, and it was almost like a fear type of way of the world. Don't ask too many questions, you don't need to know, you know, whatever. That has changed, because in the first 3 years of being on the board, one goal that we identified collectively, and the 9 board members at that time were all from very different places in the community, was that we need more communication, we need better communication, we need more transparency in decision making and how things work and how this whole system is. And to be honest with you, and people are going to always be critical because that is what we do as humans, I think we've done a really good job at turning that around. There's always room for improvement, and that's why I find that I am very approachable in the community. I look for feedback, I accept it, I take it, I enjoy talking about these things with members of the community. I am a parent whose child is identified as a GNT student that's not going to GNT right now. I get it, there are things. And that's why I think it's important that when we have the opportunity, that sharing why things are happening or aren't happening, that it can help to increase understanding and collaboration. And if you have ideas, share them, because people are listening, and we are, you know, we are doing things to increase that and to help that. And I think that having the administration open up office hours, have posted minutes from meetings with superintendent's reports posted, that doesn't always have good things. Sometimes there's not so great things that you have to share. It's important, and I think that we really are taking those steps, and adding feedback is always welcome, and it's always been. Thank you.
This question is from Mark. Question is, do you have interest in exploring and possibly working to revise Springfield's policy on summer homework?
Do I live in?
Do you have interest in exploring and possibly working to revise Springfield's policy on the summer homework?
No. No, I can answer that question. So, as chair of the policy committee, as I explained earlier, typically our policies come from, advice from our law firm, Strauss Esme. We have had a historical body of policy that we reviewed and revamped, and, summer homework is, for me, as a board member, that is not a critical piece that I'm looking to change, that I'm looking to add to, subtract from. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the concern is regarding summer homework. Is there too much? Is there not enough? I don't know. Typically my kids who come through the district get a summer packet. I find that they're prepared for the new school year, typically. If if the superintendent or the director of curriculum and instruction or the director of social services or any of the leaders of our district or the teachers recommend it, they say, hey, we need to make a change, we need to change our summer homework policy. I will certainly listen to it. I will consider it. I will discuss it with the policy committee. I will bring it to the board. And if that's what, and I'll listen to the community as well. But personally, I find that, you know, my kids get homework over the summer, they get a summer packet, they usually have to read a book, and I have no issue with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question is for Christy. How would you contribute to helping our schools improve special needs?
Okay, so, I was very nervous when I gave my opening speech, so I honestly don't remember if I even mentioned that I was a special ed teacher, so, I am very passionate about special education. One of our one of our reasons for making the decision to bring on a new administrator was because we all felt strongly that our special education department needed revamping. We were spending tons of money to send our students out of district. I know Laura did mention some of the positives already, but I feel like this is not my topic, so I shouldn't stick with it. But since in a very short time, we have brought on an autism spectrum disability class. We reinstated the resource room, which we know many especially parents were in favor of. Our summer school implemented academic interventions at all grade levels, so that's an expansion already that we are working towards improving our special ed program. We also have a life skills program now at the middle school, which in a few years then will, I think if not next year, the year after, will be brought up into the high school program. So we're doing things to try to keep our special needs students in district. But I think special education goes beyond just students with an IEP and 504s. You can have a classroom of general education students, and there are special needs within that classroom. And I think that as a district, we have to make sure that our PDs are in place, professional development, for those who don't know what PD is. We have to have professional development in place to make sure that every one of our students is getting their needs met, whether it's anxiety or, you know, I don't know, insecurities and anything. I mean, there are different needs that need to be attended to every day. So I think we are in the right direction again with special education. I know that, you know, the AIDS is a big factor that keeps being brought up, but there are job openings there. So if anybody knows anything, I can.
Thank you. Thank you. So I just want to acknowledge, I know this is difficult. This includes a portion of the open direct imposition of the law, and I appreciate your candor again. We do want to reserve the last remaining minutes for closing commentary. We'll provide 2 minutes to each of you to recap and to expand on some of the points to raise. This is definitely an opportunity for you to speak about your vision going forward. And I think as courtesy to the sequence established, we'll do a reverse order. We'll start with Adriana and work backwards to Ms. Svoboda.
Just wanted to say best of luck to all the candidates, and the real winner is our town for having 5 of its residents willing to make such a big commitment to serve their community. It's not easy. I watch you guys, and it's not easy. Just wanted to recognize them. School boards exist to represent the vision and values of their communities in such a way that they create the conditions for improved student outcomes. This is easy to say, but can be difficult to practice. This is partially because distinguishing between the wants and issues of individual community members and the visions and values of the community as a whole can be challenging. I know I can make a positive contribution to the work of the BOE, and the past few years have been challenging for our district, and I believe we can do better. Your support on election day in November would mean a great deal to me. So column 1 on November 7th. Thank you.
We'll move to Christy.
but I was invited, I was on the whole time. Closing comments, I was not prepared for that, but, I would just like to say that, whether or not I do get reelected, it has been a pleasure serving our community, over the past 6 years. I didn't really know what I was getting into when I signed on for the board, because again, I ran uncontested, so I was a winner from the start. But it taught me a lot. You know, I thought that I was gonna have this power to come in and just make change and be able to say like, yeah, why are we doing that? No, I don't wanna do that. You really don't have, that opportunity. You have to trust the administrators, you trust the staff, and just, you know, with continued communication, you hope to have your questions answered. And at the end of the day, you know, our kids are in a good place to go out into this world and be the best they can be. I will not interact that much on Facebook or anything like that, but I am here to answer any questions. If anyone has any, you know, any concerns, I'm here. I will put my phone number, you know, is out there. People have it. Email my school board account. I'll meet up, have a cup of coffee. But if you're looking for that back and forth on Facebook, that's not me. I'm not a social media person, and I'm not going to entertain any of that. But I'm here. I'm here for the kids. I'm here for our community, and you know, vote for me, please. I would like to continue to make a difference.
We will move to Mark.
Thank you, Steve. With the time I have, I wanna talk about the role of the board member. I know a lot of members of the public, don't 100% understand what our role actually is. So we're here to set policy, approve budgets, and hire and evaluate the chief school administrator, superintendent. We can't put ads in the paper trying to hire a teacher. We can't interview a teacher. We can't make decisions of that nature. We don't write curriculum. We do have an opportunity to vote on curriculum. We do have an opportunity to vote on policies and an opportunity to vote on budgets. But that is largely the role of the administrative offices. So when you decide who you want representing you, understand that I'm here to listen to the community. And then when I have an opportunity to make those votes, to make those choices, I do it for you, as I mentioned, the students of this district and the taxpayers of this community. That's where my head is with every decision I make, okay? So while I would love to help hire more teachers, hire more aides, that's not what this board does. That's not what we do as board members. What we do is we listen to you, the community members. We listen to the staff if they have concerns, and then we make our decisions based on that. Okay, so thank you. So when you're in the ballot booth and you're deciding who do you trust? Who do you trust to represent this community? Trust me, because I'm experienced, even-minded. I have the interests of you, the taxpayers, and the interests of our students in mind with every decision that I make. I don't come into it with an agenda. I don't come into it with politics. I don't come into it with ideas. I find it interesting that the questions I was asked tonight were very specific about policies that.
Thank you.
That's not what we're here for. We're here to listen to you and act accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. And Laura.
Similar to Mark said, I come without an agenda. I joined this board simply to be able to be part of the shaping of my little children's education and to be able to help steer the direction of the district that was going to be responsible for creating my adults. Okay. So my job, my vision was to be part of a board that collaborates, to provide feedback, to push and help set policy that I believe in for these students of Springfield, and really to just give all of these kids the best experience that they can have. I think that you know, we have brought changes. I have been part of change. Change is not easy. Change doesn't show up automatically, and a lot of times it looks like failure before it looks like success. And not to say that there were not difficult times, and there are not still difficult times ahead. There will be, and there's going to be times where we all have to be able to give and take critical feedback in a mature way, and I've been here and will continue to be if you'll have me. But I do make decisions for your children and for mine, and I think that that's the most fair thing that I could do as a member of this board. So I can't tell you what we're gonna do tomorrow, but I can tell you that we're looking at expanding our programs. We're looking at changing and adding curriculum. We're gonna be part of helping the administration select and go forward with leaders of our district that are going to be the athletic director, principal for Walton. So there are exciting things ahead, and we're also going to be utilizing the referendum fund to see physical things that you can see and touch changes, and to make responsible decisions for our budget. So my long-term hope is success, and I hope that you will coincide for January. Thank you.
So this adjourns the session we have created to give each of you a platform to speak about your views and your vision going forward. I thank all four of you for physically being here today. We appreciate your time and commitment. I'd also like to give acknowledgments to Mr. Mike Scalera to my right for taking his time out of his busy schedule to be here today. Thank you very much, Mr. Mike Scalera. See from the children's club. I'd like to thank my counterparts at all the 5 district school PTAs, so thank you all for your time, to help organize as well. I'd like to thank those joining me behind the IMC for taking the time out of your calendar to make the point is we're here because we care. We all have a contribution to this district. We want to make our schools and the student experience enriched. And so for those that have previously served, thank you for your service. To Adriana, good luck to you. And I'm sure that each of you will remain available and accessible to answer any community questions going forward. So this concludes, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you. You did a great thing. You did a great job.
Getting to the great job. Chris.